Hello and welcome to the session today. We are going to be looking at hyphens. First of all, I will explain what they are, and then we will have a look at how they are used within English. And then finally, we will have a look at some questions that we have that require hyphens to be used. So when we are speaking about what hyphens are, they are a type of punctuation mark, and it looks like a tiny little line. And that tiny little line is used between either words or between letters. And when you use a hyphen, there is no space between the hyphen and the words or letters. And some of you will be familiar with dashes. Now, hyphens look very similar to dashes. The key difference is the length. A hyphen is shorter, a dash is longer. And we are going to begin by looking at reasons for using hyphens, because there are quite a few different reasons that we have that mean you need a hyphen. So I'll show you the list first of all, and we will talk through how they are used. So we've got compound adjectives, we've got nouns that are joined together, we've got these awkward sound combinations. Sometimes the hyphen is used to clarify meaning. If you are writing numbers as words, you will use a hyphen. There are also some informal words and phrases that use hyphens. And the final reason I'm going to speak a little bit about now, because I don't have a separate slide for it. So sometimes when you are reading a book and you notice that a word doesn't quite fit onto the line, they will put a hyphen and then they will put the rest of the word on the line underneath. Now, there is a special rule for when you do this. You can't just break the word up anyhow if it doesn't fit onto the line. You need to split the word into syllables, and you would put the hyphen at the end of a syllable. So if you've got, say, the word breakfast, you would have the first part of the word, you would have, let me just make sure it doesn't fit onto the page here. So you would have the break bit on this side, and it doesn't need capital letter or anything at the other side, the fast at the end of it. Okay, so you're breaking it into syllables. What you wouldn't do, let me just come back to the break bit, is have the BRE on one side and then the CK and the fast on the other side, because it isn't broken where the syllables are. Okay, so if you've got a word that doesn't fit onto the end of the line, make sure that you put the hyphen at the end of a syllable rather than just where you run out of space. So you need to kind of think about that if you're going to use it for that reason in your writing. So let's take a closer look at all of these other reasons. So the first reason, compound adjectives. And what we mean by compound adjectives are adjectives that are made from two different words. And there are several ways of making the compound adjectives. You might have a number and a singular noun. So the 20-page book, you've got the number and then the noun. You might have adjectives at the beginning. So it could be an adjective with a noun, like short term or long distance, or it may be that you've got the adjective with the present participle, so with an ing word. So good looking, long lasting. It might also be that you are using the adjective like it is at the bottom here, where you've got an adjective and a past participle. So old-fashioned, short-lived. These words at the bottom here, forgotten, lived, made, they are all the past participle. Okay. The other way that we make the compound adjectives is with nouns. And you could have the noun and the ing word, the present participle, so mouth-watering, English speaking. You might have a noun and an adjective, so ice cold, world famous. Or you could have the noun and the past participle, so the middle-aged and the wind-powered. So all of these are what we call compound adjectives, and they need the hyphen to link the two words together. Okay, then we have hyphens that join nouns. What that means is one, two, or three words that are joined together and they make a singular noun. So the word here, father-in-law, it is one noun, it's one person. And we use the hyphens between the short words to show that it's all joined together to make one word. Merry-go-round is three words that are linked together to make the one noun. And often you will find in the nouns that are joining together, there will often be a preposition in there. So passer-by, the by is the preposition that is linked to the passer to make the one noun. Okay. Then the next bit we're going to look at is awkward sound combinations. And some words, when you put the prefixes at the beginning of it, it makes a really weird sort of sound or look when you write it. And that is because some prefixes end in vowels and some words begin with vowels. And this group of words here, you will notice they end in a vowel and the second part of it begins with a vowel. And when we have that, we usually put a prefix between it just so that it makes it easier to read. There are certain prefixes, ex, self, and all, that you need to have a hyphen whenever you use that prefix. Okay, so some prefixes, no matter what comes after it, you tend to have the hyphen. The next reason that we're going to look at is to clarify meaning. And what I mean by that is sometimes when you put a prefix on a word, it causes confusion because it is exactly the same as another word that has a totally different meaning. So if I put the RE prefix in front of the word sign, it means to sign again, so you re-sign something. But without a prefix of the re, and as one word, resign, it means something totally different. It means that you are leaving your job, you're giving in your notice. So we put the hyphen in there to clarify the meaning and to avoid the confusion. Again, you've got repress, it means that you're pressing again, but if you repress someone, you would subdue them by force, so it has a totally different meaning. And I think my favorite one for the clarifying meaning, man-eating shark. If I put the hyphens in there, it means a shark that eats man. If you have a man-eating shark, it could be that we're talking about a man in a restaurant that is eating the shark. So without the hyphens, it is kind of unclear about what the meaning is on certain phrases, okay? The same as long-standing. If you put it together, it means someone that's been waiting a long time, or that someone that you've maybe known a long time. But if you use it as two separate words, it may mean something different within your sentences. Okay, so those are to clarify meaning. The next group that we're going to look at is one that I'm guessing a lot of you will be familiar with. So when it comes to writing words as numbers, any number that you write that is bigger than 20, you would need to put the hyphen in between it. So 37, you split the numbers up with the hyphen, and that would be exactly the same if you've got 196. You would still need the hyphen between 90 and 6, but you don't need it after 100. And that's a little bit like this example at the bottom, where you've got, there were 26,000, so the 26 needs a hyphen. 1,000, I don't need the hyphen for it. And 78, so this part here, 78 is like my tens and ones in that number. Okay, so anything between 21 and 99, you need that hyphen if you are writing it as a word. Then one last reason before we begin looking at the sheet that we're going to do. So informal words and phrases, and these are often words and phrases where they are linked together and it has one unit of meaning rather than la and di and da. It all fits together, la-di-da. It is an informal use of language. They were having a sing-song. So sing-song, it fits together as one unit of meaning. And then again, nitty-gritty, it is the one phrase, and they are informal bits of language that we are using. Okay, now I think many of you will have the sheet here, and your sheet, it doesn't have the words onto it. So what we are going to do, we are going to work out where on your sheet these words go. And you have some headings. You have the heading compound adjective, and I'm going to colour those in red. You have the heading joining nouns, and they're going to be yellow. Words that make awkward sounds are going to be these light blue ones. Then we've got a nice purpley colour that we're going to clarify meaning, and an orange one for numbers, and we've not used green yet, so we will have a green for the informal words. Okay, so our first one, I think we've started with an easy-ish one. 32, I'm hoping that most of you will realise that is a number. So that needs to go in your number box. Okay, then co-workers, I have put the prefix there. So it is to avoid that awkward sound that I have got the hyphen. So that needs to go in your awkward sounds box. Then if something is sweet smelling, think about how it's made up. Sweet is the adjective, smelling is the ing word or the present participle. So that one, it is because we are using a compound adjective. Then we've got a free for all. And free for all, it means that everyone is trying to grab something or they're doing it all together, and it's kind of a little bit messy. And that is our informal words. So that one needs to go in the informal words box. The next one, ice skate. I'm joining my nouns together. So I've got ice is one noun, skate is a separate noun, but if I put them together, I am ending up with one noun. So that is an ice skate. I'm using it to join my nouns. Okay. And the next one, look at the way that the prefix has been used. Recover. That means that I am going to cover something again. Okay, opposed to if I recover and I get better. So recover, it means to cover again, and I am using the hyphen there to clarify the meaning, because it doesn't mean to get better, it means that I am covering something again. So the next one, cut and dried. It is one phrase and it is an informal phrase. So I have used the hyphens there to link together the informal words. Okay. And I think most of you will know the next one, 166. I'm hoping you will have realised that that is a number. Remember what we said about if you're using 100 and you don't need the hyphen there, you only need it for the smaller units of numbers. So that is going in the orange box is the number box. And then pick me up. So that would mean not literally to pick someone up. A pick me up is something that would make someone feel better. Okay, so that is an informal phrase that you would use, and it is linked together with the hyphens to show that it is one phrase rather than three separate bits of it. And then I'm moving along to crazy sounding. So I think what I have there is, and crazy is my adjective, sounding is my present participle. So what I actually have is a compound adjective. So let me just add the red there. And it is formed in a similar way to the sweet smelling. Okay. Now the next one, one way. So I've got the number one, but the rest of it isn't a number. So it isn't to show that it's a number. What it is actually doing, it is clarifying the meaning. So you might have a one-way street. So you would need the hyphen between the one and the way so that it clarifies what it means. Okay. And then the next one, those of you that were wide awake a minute ago will have noticed this word, father-in-law. I am joining the words together to make one noun. Okay, so it could be father-in-law, mother-in-law, sister-in-law. A lot of the nouns that we join together related to family would have the in-law part of it. Okay. Then the next one, student teacher. So those people that come into school and they're learning how to become teachers, you are joining the nouns together. So student teacher. So they're a student, but they're learning how to become a teacher. And then I have another one here with a prefix, and I've got re-enter. So remember what we said about those words where the prefix has the vowel sound and the base word starts with that vowel sound. So this is one of those, and it is that awkward sound that we have there. And then war-torn is describing something, but it isn't describing it in the same way as the sweet smelling and the crazy sounding. It is a compound adjective that is made up in a slightly different way because it doesn't have that ing there. So that one is our compound adjective, okay? And then little used. That one there, you need to think about why the hyphen is there. So it isn't there because it is necessarily the compound adjective. It is there so that it clarifies the meaning of it. It may be that the word ends up as a compound adjective, but it is to clarify the meaning of those two words together. The next one, you need to look really carefully because it isn't just a regular number, 2/5. It is still using the hyphen because of numbers, but in this sense, it is using fractions, okay? So the same meaning as numbers between 21 and 99, when you have fractions, 2/8, 5/10, you would have the hyphen between the number and the fraction. So that one, it is orange because, no, let's find the orange. That's better. It is orange because of the fraction at the end of it is still classed as numbers, okay? And someone has just given me the answer for this. Copilot, it does sound a bit awkward, doesn't it? So it is because of that CO prefix, you regularly have the hyphens because of that awkward sound that it makes. So what I will do, I will save this bit so that your parents can have a look at it afterwards and you can check how you're getting on with those. But what I wanted to have a quick look at before we finish is the bottom part of your sheet. And on the bottom part of your sheet, I have been particularly mean this time. I have written some sentences, but I haven't put the hyphens in. And because I haven't put the hyphens in, things don't totally make sense in some of them. So we need to work out where should the hyphens go. Okay, so think about it. In your first one, think about where is the hyphen going? Which bit needs that hyphen? And I think one or two of you are just in the process. I can see messages coming through if people want to send it. Think about all of the rules that we have looked at today and how they've been used, and see if you can work it out, because yes, I can see some of you are working it out. And what you need to think about, I may have been really mean. And I think, yes, one or two of you are sending me the right answer. And I am just going to use a totally different colour because I've got a lot of you are saying runner up. So yes, that is, and it should be written runner hyphen up. And you will notice there isn't a space between the words there, okay? And then think about the rest of the sentence. Think about the race. Have I been incredibly mean? Because what word is describing the race? So think about how it is structured, and here I've got this word, a long distance, and because long distance is being used to describe the race, it is being used as a compound adjective. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to have long hyphen distance. Now the next one, where you put this is going to make quite a difference. So she wore a light green dress to the party. So again, it is being used for a compound adjective, because if you don't have the hyphen there, it is going to sound as if the dress is light and the dress is green. But that isn't actually the case. Light green is describing the colour of the dress. So the hyphen needs to come in between light and green. Okay, so that's where the hyphen is going in that one. The next one, it is thought that 76% of children love reading. So I can see a number in there, and it is a number that is less than 99 but over 21. So what I need to do, I need to put 70 and then the hyphen and then 6. Okay, so 76 with the hyphen in between. Now, I don't know if you will be able to spot the next one, because in the next one, I am being quite informal. So I've got Nellie Trotter is an up-and-coming opera singer. So does anyone know where those hyphens need to go? Because which bit of that is informal and it belongs together? So the bit that I am looking at is here. She is an up and coming. So what we need to do is have the hyphen after up, hyphen and hyphen, and then the word coming after it. Okay, so up and coming. So there's 2 hyphens in that one. And then the next one, we need to look at the meaning, because the way that it is written in this sentence says, I need to resign my contract. Now, I don't need to resign it because I want to carry on working there. What I need to do is re-sign the contract. So what I have to do, instead of putting it as one word, because I don't want to leave my job, I want to keep the job. So what I have to do is put re-hyphen sign. Okay, and this is one that gets very confusing, because if you don't put the hyphen, the meaning is totally different with the resign. Okay, and then the next one, I can kind of see it because it just looks weird in that final sentence. In the winter, I need to de-ice the car windows. So there's a word in there that just looks totally wrong. And the word in there that looks totally wrong is this bit, the de-ice. Okay, so because of that vowel, I need to put the hyphen. So I would have the DE as my prefix, then the hyphen, and then the ice part of it. Okay, so I will also save this so that you have the answers, and you can check that you are happy with those answers. Okay, so for those of you that are watching the recording, thank you for joining me.